Hey everyone, and welcome to the Balanced Mama Project Radio. In this space, we explore how everyday routines can nurture connection, development, and well being for both the baby and the parent. I'm Dr. Lisa Desai, a licensed occupational therapist specializing in maternal health. And today we're going to be talking about one of my favorite tools for supporting both parent and baby. Let's talk about baby wearing. So, whether you're expecting in the thick of postpartum life or chasing your toddler while baby wearing or while baby number two naps on you, this episode will give you both the science and the sensory wisdom behind why baby wearing can basically be so transformative. So, what exactly do we mean by baby wearing? Baby wearing is simply the practice of carrying your baby using a carrier, a wrap, or a sling, and keeping them close to your body while your hands stay free so you can do all the other things that you either need to do or want to do while still staying close to your baby. It's not a new trend, like there's so many cultures around the world that have been utilizing carrying their babies for centuries and centuries. Um, Africa, the Japanese, Mexican, um, Indians, just that's just a few, that's just to name a few. There's so many out there. And each designed with a deep understanding of the body, rhythm, connection. So, as an occupational therapist, I view baby wearing as both a functional activity and a therapeutic tool. It supports development, bonding, regulation, and everyday participation for both the baby and the caregiver. So, let's talk a little bit about what we think from the OT perspective. So, baby wearing really supports the occupations of both the parent and the child, and that's literally our fancy way of saying the things that matter most to your daily life. First, we'll dive a little bit into how babies are supported with baby wearing. So, for babies, there's something called sensory regulation, and that's like the rhythmic movement, gentle pressure, the warmth. All of these things help your nervous system or their nervous system feel safe and calm. So, when babies are first born, they're used to being in this amniotic fluid, having this rhythmic movement when the mom's moving. They're used to hearing your heartbeat, everything that helps them self-regulate. And now they're out into this world where there's like all this stimulus and they can become overwhelmed. So this is one way of regulating that sensory and the sensory system and your nervous system. Then there's also motor development. So babies in carriers practice tiny postural adjustments all day. They're building core and neck strength, which is basically active tummy time. This is in the all the different kinds of slings that you can wear. And then there's also attachment and co-regulation. So like I said before, when they hear your heartbeat, your voice, your breathing, it helps the baby sync their rhythm to yours. And this is something that they've been doing for 9 months right before coming out into this world. So when they hear that, it helps them regulate. And then for the parents, there's also emotional regulation. Just physical closeness releases oxytocin, it reduces the stress and anxiety. It helps you feel that closeness with your baby. And then there's what I find super important, which is functional participation. So you can prepare meals, you can walk the dog, you can, attend to your older children while still meeting the baby's needs. My When I had my second, he did really, really well in wraps, while my first one wanted to have nothing to do with being in a wrap, a carrier, just anything. He just wanted to be free. which at that point, it was a little bit like, "Oh, well, I don't wanna, like, keep carrying you in my arms because I also wanna do dishes or I wanna, get breakfast together," or whatever it was that I wanted to do. But with the second, I was like, "Oh my gosh, thank God he likes being in this carrier because there's no way I would have been able to take care of my older one who was 19 months and also take care of the baby at the same time because you only have 2 hands and there's only so many things you can do while having to tend to a newborn, especially because they're needy, right? They need a lot of things when they're first born, even though it seems like they don't. It's more just like every couple hours they need to eat, every couple hours they need to have their diaper changed, every couple hours they need to nap. And then you also have your toddler who also needs you and who needs you to have your hands free to be able to play with them, to make their meals, to give them hugs, whatever it is that, your older child needs. Then lastly, there's the body mechanics and ergonomics. So when done right, baby wearing distributes all the weight efficiently, reducing strain on the neck, shoulders, and wrists. And that's something that I see a lot of new parents struggling with when they're learning about carriers, when they're trying on carriers. Because one of the ways that a lot of parents look into carriers is they'll ask other people for recommendations in like mom groups, in just reading about them on the internet. But truly, carriers aren't a one size fits all, right? Everybody's body is different. Everybody has different issues like biomechanically. So, for example, some people may feel a lot of weight through their back. Some people may feel more strain through their shoulders or their neck or their upper back, depending on where you may have tightness, where you may have some muscle imbalances. All of these things can add up. So, as like first time parents or a first time sling wearer, ring sling wearer, soft structured carrier wearer, tush baby wearer, um, it's important that it's done correctly to make you more comfortable and the baby more comfortable with wearing it. And I know for a fact that choosing a carrier can feel really overwhelming because you get Instagram ads about it, you get TikTok ads about it. People are talking about all these different kind of carriers and you're just like, I don't understand what the difference is between these and which one would be beneficial for me to have. And essentially sometimes you don't know what you don't know, right? So there's wraps, there's structured carriers, there's slings, there's the hip carriers, there's just so many different things out there. So here's an OT friendly way to think about it. We want to look at postural support. So, not just for you, but also for the baby. You want to look for carriers that keep the baby's knees higher than their hips, so that M position, but also support your spine with even shoulder and hip distribution. There's also sensory preferences. So some babies love snug, stretchy wraps, and others prefer airflow and visibility. They want to be out to the world. Um, and some prefer zero carriers. Then you also want to look at the parent comfort and fit. And this is especially for plus size bodies. You want to look for carriers with adjustable straps, longer belts, and soft, wide panels. Basically, baby wearing should never hurt. There's also other things, right? There's people who have like weak grip strength. There's people who have different range of motion impairments in their shoulders, their lower back, their upper body. That there are different types of carrying devices out there for those people. Or this is where an occupational therapist can also come in and help you make adjustments to those carriers to make it safer and easier for you to be able to carry your baby if that's something that you choose to do. And here's a pro tip that I often share with my clients, and this is in a lot of this can I don't know how to say this. This can, I guess, be used as a tip widely across maternal health for a lot of other things that we go through. If the carrier feels like a wrestling match to put on, you're not going to use it. So comfort and ease really, really matter more than the brand name. When it comes to baby wearing, it comes to you just feeling comfortable in order to carry your child. So, like I was saying before, a lot of people will Google different slings or listen to different opinions of friends, family members who have used the slings, but I think it's very important for you to be able to try these slings on, um, and see what works for you. There's a lot of great um, like baby stores that carry slings that will let you try them on. There's also certified baby wearing specialists who can really help with that kind of stuff. And I believe there's a website, if you Google, that can list the baby carrier, certified baby carriers in your area, or you can, search online. There's a really good ones that you're able to find on Instagram and schedule appointments with them, and it's really helpful. So let's talk about some general, safety things, because correct positioning makes all the difference. I'm sure if you've looked up anything about baby wearing, the first thing that pops up is the following acronym: T.I.C.K.S, TICS. And we'll just go through quickly what that stands for. So the T is for tight, the baby's snug against your body. You want to make sure they're in view, which is the I, so you can always see the baby's face. Close, which is the C, they're close enough to kiss. K, keep the chin off the chest. And S, a supported back. So a baby's back is naturally curved, but supported and not slumped. You want to make sure, again, that you have good posture, but your baby also has good posture in any of the slings that you're using. So, when in doubt, you want to make sure you check that the baby's airway is clear, their nose and their mouth are visible, and you can easily slip 2 fingers under their chin. So, these are just like the very general basics of safety with baby wearing. So let's talk a little bit about some common challenges and then the OT solution to those challenges. My baby cries when I put them in a carrier. So I had this happen with my first. I tried him in a soft carrier, I tried him in a structured carrier. Um, we did the tush baby. He did okay with the tush baby because he had the freedom to move around. He did okay with the Ergo 360 because I was able to, as he got older, I was able to face him out and he just wanted to touch things and he wanted to like he was very observant, so he wanted to look out towards the world all the time. He did not do well in the Baby Bjorn Mini because he was, his he was against my chest or my husband's chest, and he may have just felt like really constricted. I'm not sure, but he did not do well with that. So as you can see, there's different types of carriers to try and see what works best for you and your baby. The other thing you want to do is you want to try small steps, right? So you always want to try to put the baby in when they're calm. So maybe after a feeding or a nap, because if they're agitated, you're getting frustrated because it's not working. They're getting frustrated because you're shoving them into this new environment that they're not used to. They're feeling these different sensations on their body. And then everyone just gets frustrated and gives up. And that's usually the number one reason, or that's one of the reasons why, maybe not the number one, but people just quit baby wearing. Also, practice around the house first. Movement helps, so gently swaying, bouncing on a yoga ball, or walking can help regulate both of you. And again, these are the feelings that these are the sensations and feelings that they had when, you know, you were pregnant with them. So these are all mimicking what was happening for those 9 months. Another challenge is your back hurting. So that's your OTQ to check alignment. Bring the baby higher, close enough to kiss, and tighten the waistband snugly on your hips. Loosen the shoulder straps evenly. Your carrier should feel like a well fitted backpack and not a purse basically sliding off your shoulder. So make the adjustments that you need to make. My number one tip is try the different, whatever sling or carrier you're going to use, try it before you put your baby in it. Make sure you feel that it fits okay on you. Sometimes you can really tell just by like when you go to tighten things, you're like, this just doesn't feel right even on me. So I don't know if, it's really going to work with my baby. Once you feel it fitting well on you, go ahead and put the baby in and adjust it as you need. So yesterday, I got a new carrier and I made the mistake of not fitting it on myself first because I was like, oh, whatever, I'll figure it out, as I'm putting it on and I'll put my baby into it and it'll be fine and we'll do our thing. Yeah, that's not how it worked out at all. My toddler was losing his mind because all he wanted were like snacks because apparently the 3 huge snacks that I brought for our 20-minute walk was not enough for him. So he's sitting on a bench watching the metro buses go by. My younger one, who is now 8 months, was losing his mind because he's teething. I didn't fit this carrier to me. My goal was to fit it once I stopped and, had my for some reason I thought things were going to be calm. They weren't. So I'm trying to fit this carrier and then put my son in it, and my other son's losing his mind. At that point I was like, you know what? I'm done. We're just going to turn around and go home because I can't fit this carrier to me. Both my kids are losing their mind and I'm about to lose my mind. So if I had probably just fit that carrier before I tried to put my son into it or before I had left the house, I think the transition would have been a lot smoother. So again, check straps, do what you need to do to adjust it to make sure that you're not in pain as you're trying to put your baby into it and do whatever you need to do. And then challenge number 3, you feel too big for the carrier. So your body is absolutely made for carrying. There's so many brands now that offer extended belts, custom panels, inclusive sizing. So there's a bunch of different carriers that are out there, and it's important that you try them before you commit to them. So just remember, comfort is a right, not a privilege. You need to be comfortable to wear the carrier that you choose. You should be allowed to go out and try them on at the different stores before you decide what you're going to purchase. And then there's so many more challenges, but one of the last ones that we're going to talk about is that it just feels complicated. Overall, it feels complicated. And again, this is why people often just stop baby wearing. Just remember, you don't have to figure it out alone. Like I talked about before, there's baby wearing educators out there, occupational therapists, online fit checks are all incredible resources. Reach out. Community support is part of the journey. You can reach out for to us if you would like via Instagram at balance.mama.project. And we can also send you references, we can do fit checks, we can send you out to a certified baby wearing specialist if that's something that would better fit your needs. But there's always somebody out there to help you. And then there's a whole other layer to just baby wearing. So beyond like the practical layer, there's the emotional layer. So there's the physical and developmental benefits, but baby wearing is really about that connection. It's I don't, this sounds like silly, but it's basically a dance between 2 nervous systems. It's where your heartbeat tells your baby you're safe and your body remembers that you're capable of doing these things. So in a world that tells parents to do more and hold less because your baby's going to get used to it or they're going to become, dependent on you and you're just going to have to hold them for the rest of their life, it's just baby wearing reminds us that holding is the work. That presence, the warmth, the steady rhythm, that's what builds resilience and trust in both you and your baby. So, if this conversation resonated with you, I'd love for you to share it with another parent who might need a little encouragement or a reminder that their body and baby are beautifully in sync. And again, baby wearing is for everyone. You can find more tips, resources on our page at, again, it's balanced.mama.project, or you can reach out to us for a virtual baby wearing consult. So just remember, baby wearing isn't about perfection, it's about connection, regulation, and just belonging. So, thanks for joining me today on the Balanced Mama Project Radio. And until next time, take a deep breath, hold your baby close, and know that you are doing amazing work. Stay balanced, mamas.